One of the things that's been interesting this week with the Ravens game there, JP, has been Mary Kay or Buddy Spencer German. I've heard, and by the way, if you've also heard other beat reporters suggest, if Dillon doesn't play well in this game, not only could this be his last game, but that this could be a game where maybe, much like the original Baltimore game where Dillon got the action for the first time, that we can actually see Shedeur Sanders on Sunday. And a very valid question you had is, well, do we know if Shedeur's been practicing? Because it wouldn't be fair if he's not getting normal reps.
Yeah, because last week left it off, I think it was the 21st comes to mind, October 21st. Stefanski told us he was getting 0 reps.
Yep, and so why we say that is, today Kevin Stefanski was asked about Shedeur's practice reps. Here's what he had to say.
No, he's doing a really nice job, including just now coming off the field with the red zone drill that we did. So continues to work very hard, doing a nice job in meetings, doing a good job in the field.
So that was him saying no, he's not getting any additional practice.
We missed the part before that, by the way. There's a whole clip before that where basically he's asked, has any amount of reps changed between Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, or is Dillon getting basically all the reps? And he said no, like nothing's changed. And so
I'll ask you, does that change whether you want to see Shedeur on Sunday or not?
Well, hold on. There's two layers to this, right? Because I think there's also the part of the conversation that we've been having now for a couple of days of what exactly do these guys see in practice that would be able to tell them we need to be clamoring for Shedeur. Mm-hmm. This almost assuredly stamps down the idea that the only people that are watching Shedeur play in practice are not the veterans that could have the voice to this all. It's in fact the guys in the post-practice drills, as Kevin talked about in that clip. Those are the only ones, and those are young players. Those are practice squad guys. Those are rookie players. Those aren't the type of guys that are going to speak out and say, bench Dillon Gabriel, we want to see Shedeur Sanders.
So that speaks directly to the narrative of, well, Shedeur can't be that good because we don't have Myles Garrett kicking down the door and saying, play him or I'm not playing on Sunday.
Yeah, because Myles isn't watching him actually play in these practices. And so, Stefanski's doing a good job of at least on his own doing these post-practice drills and trying to see where he thinks maybe Shedeur could be. That's good. All right, great. Let's keep that up. But as far as the veterans are concerned, like Devin Bush isn't out there playing against Shedeur Sanders. That's not existing. At least 2 months ago, when he was off to the side and he was on a completely different field, when he was throwing to ball boys and practice squad members and everything else, the way that was set up, when Dillon Gabriel was the backup, at least in that setup, maybe they'd catch a glimpse of him throwing a football from 35 feet away. They don't even have that opportunity now.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know. Do you think the Browns would put Shedeur in on Sunday without first team reps?
It doesn't sound like it. No, it doesn't sound like it. Now, would they do something like what they did with Dillon in week 2? You mentioned that, like 2 drives, a drive. If the game is a blowout, sure, I guess that's on the table. But the idea that he's going to come in there at the half, this doesn't sound like the type of quarterback situation where he's coming in at halftime. This sounds like the type of quarterback situation where Dillon could stink up the joint to the high heavens, which we've seen him do already this year, and that's Dillon's game to finish out. That's the impression that I get.
It does continue to feel like Shedeur's being held hostage just a little bit with parliamentary procedure and politics within the Browns. Mm-hmm. Just, and again, that doesn't mean Kevin's a bad guy for doing that, because it can go this way in the NFL, and biases are real, and I drafted that guy, I'm investing in that guy, I'm not investing in that guy, works all the time in the NFL. But it's just interesting to see that we're this late in the season, and that, quite frankly, Dillon has played this bad, and that we could be this close to changing quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And, man, they're going to give Shedeur 1 week of reps with the ones and then maybe give him a shot on the field.
That's all it would be. Now, so that I think is when they start to crack that door open to the idea that he would appear in the third quarter if things aren't going well, or if he'd even appear in a game in general. I feel like you'll start to see that maybe through the reps in practice. But that's very important, Stefanski said, that nothing had changed from the last time we'd had this discussion, and that, in fact, then Dillon, what that means is that Dillon is still getting 100% of the reps. I think that's very important, because that tells me that Stefanski is still committed to Dillon Gabriel.
I'll be honest with you, I think Stefanski is going to be committed to Dillon regardless. I think it's whether Stefanski succumbs to pressure from out, whether it's on his staff or from outside his staff that says, we've watched your guy play. He's not very good. Let's go to the other one.
And maybe that's Haslam. I'm not sure. We've kind of always pinpointed it to be Haslam when that day eventually does come. He just gets tired of watching Dillon stink up the joint and says, you got to do what I want now. And it's maybe we'll get there. But this is interesting. But no, I'm nowhere closer to thinking that Shedeur is going to actually play this weekend.
I do think what's interesting is if Shedeur would play this weekend, whether it's for injury or anything else, it'd be really interesting if then he goes out and plays well in spite of the lack of reps.
For sure. It just means he could do it at any point, right? And he could just basically overcome anything. But if it's 2 drives and it's the fourth quarter of a blowout game, and at that point maybe even the Ravens have their backups in too. Like I just don't know. I don't even want that entry for Shedeur, if we're being honest about it.
It's going to be... Oh, come on. You wouldn't...
No, I kind of want him to have like a whole week set up and everything, and then have the big lead up into it where he gets to do everything down to what he did even in that first preseason game. I'm not saying you get Tony Brown back on the roster and we get the Mufasa stick. Yeah, I'm not saying we do that, but I like the idea of him having the whole week to gas himself up, get himself ready for the idea that he's starting, and then be able to just go off to the races. Something about Shedeur that I think loves that idea.
One thing I actually really like that they've done this year is get Dillon those reps in that first Baltimore game, because I think it just took pressure off the initial thing. And I know everyone's going, Shedeur's built for that. Guys, there's a different level of pressure than he will ever face the first time he goes out there, especially if it's still when the Browns are talking playoffs with Myles Garrett coming out today.
It just seems so nonplussed by it all, though. It doesn't seem like that would even, like, for most quarterbacks, you're right. For him, I don't even know that it would register that way.
I don't think he's going to come out and be,
He's like a human beta blocker, though. Like, yeah, I feel like he doesn't.
I think he does a good job of keeping whatever he's feeling off to the side. You cannot tell me the second you tell that kid, hey, man, you're getting the game, he's not feeling sort of nerves.
If it's pressure, I feel like he's one of those guys that with pressure he gets excited. There's I'm going to use the Donovan Mitchell term of calling people sickos, but those sickos that where most of us would just fold, they rise to the occasion. That to me is Shedeur. When it comes to like pressurized moments, it almost like juices them up even more.
216-474-0092. Kevin Stefanski says Shedeur's practice reps have not changed, which, again, that'll be about 3 weeks back that I think we had the first update on Shedeur becoming the backup, right? Or am I thinking 4 weeks back now? Whenever, basically, Kevin first said he's not getting first-team reps and they're all going to Dillon.
October 21st.
At some point, though, this has to be Dillon's last start for me. If Dillon plays poorly, or how about this?
Yeah.
I think Dillon has to have his best game on Sunday. If all
like
we
unequivocally best, or like one of those games like where last week it looked like, well, you can argue that's a better game from a statistical standpoint than the Vikings game, but my eyeballs tell me something different. Like, what are we talking about here?
I'll actually take that last one, where all right, it's his best game, but then we haggle over it. It's at least arguable that it's his best game.
Like PFF had the game last week as his very best game. I don't know anybody that watched that game said that it was his very best. But if we get that performance again, where instead of the 63.5 PFF grade, it's a 64, we're good then.
If it's close,
so we're trending upward, maybe,
and we're talking multiple touchdowns, then I reserve the right to change this.
Okay.
But if he has a step back, guys, and Kevin Stefanski continues to put him out there. At some point, I'm going to start getting really pissed, because you're not just wasting our time, you're wasting that locker room's time with your pet. And I can't tell you how much I need Dillon Gabriel just to have a big boy game on Sunday. I need to be able to defend, not even defend. Kevin needs to be able to defend Dillon's performance on Sunday rather than when he's directly asked by the media. So where have you seen the growth in Dillon? Well, young quarterbacks have a lot of ups and downs. And no, Kevin, he said, where do you see growth from the first start to this start? Yeah. I need to see growth. I'd like to see growth now.
I'd like to see, easy now. So I want the type of game where Stefanski does like the Kirk Cousins at the end of that. Is like, you like that, like that was so dominant. That was so, it was so impressive for so many different reasons that people after the game are fighting about Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in a meaningful way. And the Gabriel gobblers, as you call them,
they call themselves.
I don't know that anybody admits to being a Gabriel gobbler.
Somebody in the YouTube chat called them Gabriel Gobblers, and the name is stuck.
It's just a weird self-own. is what that is. That's a weird cell phone.
I mean, we had the Darnold Derelicts back in 2018.
You created that. No, they didn't call themselves
Many
that.
people called them that. Many people.
Yeah, you were so you're very anti-Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only took me 7 years to be wrong on him.
It only took you a really long time, and basically 99.9% of people forgetting you even had it.
Actually, this is my Geno Smith.
Is that what this is?
I did a flip-flop on Sam Darnold, where like about year 3 in with the Jets, I was like, all right, he's not good. I was wrong. Okay, whatever. Then I was just anti Sam Darnold, and then once he got good again, I was like, guys, it's my Geno Smith with Dustin's long play on Geno Smith.
Hold on to your sports takes. They all turn a different direction. You just got to give them enough time. So anyway,
unless it's about Anthony Richardson.
Well, so maybe this is the week, though. Well, you're burying him. Who knows?
Future Browns quarterback?
Who knows? There's been thought pieces that have been written about that alone. All right, no, but I don't know. Like at the end of the game, that's what we need. All these people that thought they've been wrong about Dillon Gabriel the entire time to be like, you know what? Maybe I was right.